We need to have a plan for the loss of our IT systems. So we write a disaster recovery plan. Now, the disaster recovery plan should be very much action-oriented. A list of actions and activities, structured processes and procedures that would be required to actually help us rebuild and recover our IT infrastructure. This plan will make our disaster recovery effective, efficient, and certainly realistic. The thing is about a good disaster recovery plan, it should be a series of actions, a series of activities, not a lot of extra words and explanations. It should be written simply and clearly, so that even if this plan had to be executed by a person who'd never seen it before, they would be able to follow it and hopefully execute the plan successfully. So what makes up a disaster recovery plan? Well, one of the things we always have to determine is who declares it's a disaster. Who declares that we need to rebuild? Who from a management team has the right to initiate the actual disaster recovery effort? We then have to write the various teams and individuals that will make up those teams that will have specific responsibilities during disaster recovery. Obviously, our disaster recovery plan should be aligned with other plans such as our business continuity plans, our personnel evacuation plans, for example. We also put in contact lists. The plan should list all of our various internal personnel and suppliers we may need to reach out to in a crisis. We put in then detailed procedures for systems and applications recovery, as well as we list what resources are going to be necessary for recovery. And this usually is broken into 5 areas. What do we need in people? What do we need in facilities? What do we need in data? What do we need in equipment? And what do we need then in supply chain? We build a number of different teams, each with a specific focus during the disaster. We have the teams that rebuild various applications, such as our web applications, get them up and running. We have a team that works on network and communications, facilitate the communication and relaying, or in some cases, cutting over to a redundant type of network connection. We have a team that works on accessing the data, bringing it back into production, making sure our data remains synchronized and certainly is available when necessary. We have a team that deals with the incident itself, the problems and challenges that we're actually facing wherever the incident was to have happened. We have a team that works on restoring, getting back to normal. It's interesting, of course, that when we first have a disaster, our number one priority is to recover our critical business functions. However, when we're going to restore back to normal, back to whatever normal is going to be, I'll move my least critical functions first. We'll use those to test the migration plan, the networks, before we risk our most critical business functions. One thing that gets missed in many disaster recovery plans is the practical logistics and support. The basic logistics of how to move people, how to look after the needs of my various employees and so on during a crisis, and to make sure that all those many logistical things, such as how to get a hold of my data from the offsite location, have all been arranged. Where are the encryption keys I would need to decrypt my backup data?